course there are, stupid. Look up the Gulf of Tonkin. The Gulf of Tonkin incident is a real conspiracy theory where the government really did lie and say that there was an attack on American citizens, and that's what got us into the Vietnam War. Look up the Northwoods document. The Northwoods document is a real conspiracy that the Joint Chiefs of Staff drafted up and signed, and then it was vetoed by Kennedy. And what it was basically they were trying to get people enthusiastic about a war with Cuba, and they were going to plan attacks on American civilians. They were going to blow up an airliner and blame it on Cuba and say that Americans were on board. They were going to attack ships. They were going to attack Guantanamo Bay. They were going to throw mortars into Guantanamo Bay, and they were ready for U.S. casualties, which meant they were willing to kill Americans in order to get us to go to war with Cuba. These are real. They look up. How about fucking cigarettes? You want a real conspiracy theory? How come politicians all want to talk about drugs and we need to keep drugs out of schools? Drugs in this country can't even fucking come close to the death and destruction and health problems that cigarettes have caused, but yet you don't hear a fucking peep out of those guys about cigarettes. Cigarettes kill 400,000 people a year in this country alone, every fucking year. That's a real legit conspiracy where no one is talking about it, and the reason why they're not talking about it is because tobacco companies finance campaigns of politicians. Those are conspiracies. What a conspiracy is someone conspires to do something. There's hundreds of legit conspiracies. Look up the Iran-Contra affair. Look up the fact that Oliver North and all those guys were involved in doing illegal shit in order to help.
But they bring in I just watched a thing where they bring in cocaine into the U.S.
Well, that's the accusation, and there's a bunch of books that have been written on that, and CIA agents who have said that. There's a guy named Gary Webb who's got a bunch of shit on that, and there was a dude named Barry Seal who actually was bringing in cocaine from other countries, got caught, and when he was about to go to trial, was murdered.
And that was to go, they bring in coke from those like Afghanistan type countries to help support them to fight the Russians.
Yeah, and here's another one. Is, you know, people say, oh man, the CIA is good, they help us, and sure, some CIA, I'm sure, do that, but the CIA, one of the planes that's been to Guantanamo Bay crashed last year in Mexico with 4 tons of cocaine. I'm going to put up that link. Yeah, and it didn't even fucking make the news, man. It made Reuters, and it didn't make any of the big news programs. I'll put up that link for you guys. But this is a fucking CIA plane. Here,
Mike Rupert was the LA cop that busted that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a special on HBO or something, too, because there were 2 black dudes that were the ones that all funneled through.
Yeah. The bottom line about human beings, though, is that people are so lackadaisical when it comes to shit. They're just so... They you know, you could... That stuff could be on the news and people would care more about John and Kate. You know,
right.
Like, John has to pay $10,000 a month in child support and alimony. How's he going to do it? And that would be big news. Whereas people wouldn't give a fuck about, you know, the CIA selling drugs. They would. All you have to do is have one person on television say it's bullshit, and that's all that's all you need to get 90% of the people to believe it.
And a lot of those shows, a lot of the news ones, there's people, that's what they do for a living. They say they can put their name in a database to be an expert about whatever, and then CNN or Fox will go, we need a guy that knows about, and then you're the expert on drug addiction.
Well, it's been proven that oil companies have hired scientists to dispute the fact that human beings have created global warming. You know, who the fuck knows whether or not they're right or wrong when it comes to global warming? And most people that argue it, they argue it from the point of being a conservative or being a liberal. Liberals always say we have to stop it, and conservatives say there's no connection. And it's just because they're a bunch of fucking parrots. They hear, you know, all these different people, Rush Limbaugh or whoever on the radio, saying that there's no connection, that you're these silly liberals, and they just repeat the same dumb shit. And conservatives do that, and then liberals, they see that fucking Al Gore cocksucker, and they go, Al Gore said that. Meanwhile, Al Gore's made $1 billion off of this fucking climate gate. If you look at like what Al Gore has made, the money that Al Gore's made since An Inconvenient Truth came out, it's fucking staggering. He's made an incredible amount of money off of this. And the people that would benefit from all these carbon taxes, I mean, they're setting this up to make money, and that's what they're doing. No one's doing this. I'm sure there's a few scientists that are doing it with the right intentions, but most of the politicians that are pushing this, they have ulterior motives, and they're trying to make money off of this shit.